Good evening. I'm Officer Bill Hummel, a spokesperson for the Aurora Police Department. The reason that I've invited and we've invited everybody here today is to discuss an ongoing case. It's an ongoing investigation involving allegations of sexual assault on children, wherein the suspect is a teacher at a middle school here in Aurora. Joining me today is Chief Nicholas Metz with the Aurora Police Department and Cherry Creek School Superintendent Dr. Harry Bull, B-U-L-L, and our Major Investigations Lieutenant Steve Redford, who also oversees the Crimes Against Children unit. I'll start out with Chief Metz.
Thank you, Bill. It's okay, I'm just going to move these over just a little bit so I can put my papers down. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Again, I'm Nick Metz. I'm the Chief of Police with the Aurora Police Department. And first of all, I just want to thank all of you for coming here this evening on such little notice. This is a very important case and one in which we're actually asking for the media's help in getting information out. So we really appreciate you coming here today. One of the things I want to start off with is just to share with you that the information that we are providing today is preliminary in nature. So it is any investigation is always subject to change. So that's one thing I just want you to keep in mind. And also it's an active investigation, meaning that there's probably going to be a lot of things at this point we can't share with you as far as specifics. And so we're going to just ask for your understanding with that. Once we have that information, once we get that, as the course goes and working with the prosecutor's office and things like that, we will release that information as we can. I think one thing that's really important to note here is we are not holding this press conference just to tell you that we made an arrest. The important part of this press conference is that, again, we need your help. We need your help in getting information out because we believe that there may be additional victims, either at the current school where this teacher is employed or past schools where he was previously employed. So again, this is something that we feel is very important. So let me just start off with, and also I just want to also state that we've been in consultation not only with Superintendent Harry Bull from the Cherry Creek School District, who's here with us, but also with the 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office, and just to make sure that things are going the way they need to go. So basically, just to start from the beginning, officers were dispatched to our lobby downstairs to investigate a sexual assault. The sexual assault involved the victim was a minor. The suspect in the case is Brian Vasquez. This is a photo of him right here. Mr. Vasquez is a teacher at Prairie Middle School, which is part of the Cherry Creek School District. The victims in this case, and again we believe there are multiple victims, are students at Prairie Middle School. But again, we believe that there may be more. Mr. Vasquez was arrested by officers this afternoon, and he was booked into the Aurora jail on 3 counts of sex assault on a child with a position of trust, which is a pattern of abuse charging enhancer, and 5 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. One of the things that's important to note here is the charge is merely an accusation, and that the defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty. As I said earlier, we believe, or we do know, that Mr. Vasquez has had previous employment prior to working for the Cherry Creek School District. That employment included employment with the Widefield School District, which is, we believe, is in El Paso County, and the Harrison School District, also in El Paso County. That said, we are in the process of contacting not only the Colorado Springs Police Department, but also the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and others that we believe may need to know this information to determine whether or not there may be additional victims prior to his employment here in Aurora. He also was employed with the San Luis Valley Youth Detention Center, and we are in the process of notifying them as well. Mr. Vasquez is married and he has 2 young children. And again, we are very concerned about the possibility of additional victims. So one of the biggest reasons we want to make sure we have this press conference today is to get the word out that if someone believes that they have been a victim by Mr. Vasquez, if they are a witness or they have any information that they believe may tie him to any previous sexual assault incidents or anything that we're investigating now, we are asking them to please contact the Crimes Against Children tip line. That number is 303-739-6164. We are in the process of providing victim advocates to the victims and their families, and we are going to continue to do that as this investigation continues. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Harry Bull, Superintendent of the Cherry Creek School District.
Well, good evening. This morning, we received information from the Aurora Police Department regarding allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior by a teacher, Mr. Vasquez, a teacher of 7 years at Prairie Middle School. Working cooperatively with the Aurora Police Department, the Cherry Creek School District immediately placed the teacher on paid administrative leave. Today is a sad day. It's a sad day at Prairie Middle School, at Overland High School, and in the Cherry Creek School District. The district has and will continue to cooperate fully with the Aurora Police Department. Our greatest concern, my greatest concern, is for our students. Some we believe may be victims or may have information important to this investigation. I encourage anyone, any of our students who have information to please let an adult in your school know. Our teachers, our counselors, and our mental health staff will be available to support our students and their families who need assistance. The parents of the Prairie and Overland community will also be contacted and notified of this incident this evening by the Cherry Creek schools. I'd like to now welcome to the podium Lieutenant Redfern.
Could we have a proper name spelling of the suspect?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
How he spells his name.
Okay, so again, I'm Lieutenant Steve Redfern with the Major Investigation Section. To answer your last question, Brian, I have is B-R-I-A-N. Last name Vasquez, V-A-S-Q-U-E-Z.
Thank you.
Real
Your
quickly,
name is Renfro?
I'm sorry, Redfern. It's R-E-D-F-E-A-R-N. And again, I'm a lieutenant with the Aurora Major Investigation Section. I'm here just to follow up a little bit on some of the chief's comments from the investigative side. Our detectives today have been working very tirelessly on this urgent matter. We've been able to conduct some interviews with some victims and witnesses, but we have many more to do, and that's why some of the questions that you likely have we're not going to have the answers to or not be able to talk about today. A few next steps with this, which clearly is an ongoing and very rapidly evolving case. We have more interviews to do, and we will continue to do those. We have been working hand in hand with the Cherry Creek School District today. Tomorrow at the school we will have additional officers there from our School Resource Officer Unit and some detectives there in case we do have additional witnesses or folks with information. Our partners with the Arapahoe County DA's office have been in contact with our detectives all day, and we will continue to work with those folks on charging in this case. Typically it takes around 72 hours, or a decision is made on charging within 72 hours of an arrest. We, as the chief said, we think it's likely that there could be additional victims out there, but we also think there might be folks that have information. And so I'm going to repeat the tip line number. The tip line for our Crimes Against Children unit is 303-739-6164. And again, anyone with information, victim, witnesses, anybody that might have some pertinent information, please call us at that number, and detectives will be monitoring that. That is really it for next steps. Again, as we have more information in the coming days, we'll release it. But at this time, preliminarily, that's where we stand here. We'll take some questions at this time. Again, keep in mind there's a lot of things at this time we're not able to discuss.
Can you talk about the connection to Overland High School and maybe the range of ages for the victims, or middle school and high school?
I can't at this time speak to the range of ages of the victims. I will say that proximity-wise, Prairie and Overland are literally on the same campus, so there's likely to be some students now at Overland that attended Prairie and things like that.
Were the incidents isolated to school hours or outside of school hours, or both?
It's too early for us to tell. There, as we speak, detectives are still narrowing down a lot of the details.
Are all of the victim students? Right now?
I'm sorry?
Are all of the victims students, and how many victims do you know of so
At this
far?
time, we're not naming the number. It's multiple victims, and we believe that the information that we have at this time, that the victims we're referring to now were students at the school when these incidents occurred.
How did you guys first find out about this?
As the chief stated, we had a walk-in report to our front desk. One of the victims arrived here, and a patrol officer made contact and took this report, and then we took it from there.
How long do you think it's been going on?
We don't know. It's likely that it's been going on for quite some time, but we don't have a time frame at this point.
Can you differentiate, forgive me for not knowing, the 3 counts of sexual assault and 5 counts of sexual exploitation? Can you kind of describe the differences there?
For the purposes of this briefing, I'm going to refrain from doing that because I don't want to give misinformation. I don't have the. I can give you general descriptions, but at this point, I don't want to go down that road. We can follow up later with that.
On those 8 counts, how many victims are named in just those 8 so far?
Again, at this point, due to the very early nature of this, I'm not going to delineate what victims are associated with what charges at this point. That's something that will come out at a later time.
When you say exploitation, could that possibly be child porn, trying to get kids to create child porn? Can you shed any light?
Again, I don't want to provide the whole statute for you. All of those things are in public records and things like that. We can get into that at a later time, but I mainly don't want to go through those things right now because I don't want to alarm folks and potentially harm further witnesses or victims of the crime.
Sure. I think one of the things to keep in mind, and this is an incredibly high priority investigation for us. As soon as we got the information, we've been on it. We're going to continue to work on it through the next coming days. It is really important right now that we not share this information because we do not want to do anything to jeopardize this investigation. I appreciate the questions, but please understand that a lot of these things we cannot answer right now, again, to maintain the integrity of the investigation.
For the superintendent, did you know, if you could step here so we can hear you, did you know the teacher, and if so, can you kind of describe what you knew about him, what any relation?
You know what, other than recognizing the picture, I've had no relationship with the teacher.
What did he teach?
He's a social studies teacher.
Do you believe he acted alone?
You know what, I'm going to let the police investigate and provide that information later on.
What information has the school district given parents so far?
We are sending out a message explaining to our parents really the essence of this press conference. We released that information after this press conference started. So it went out today, 6 o'clock. We translated and are sending it out to both the Overland and Prairie community.
When did school start this year?
At those 2 schools a week ago.
Was he involved in any extracurricular activities? Was he a coach, sponsor, or anything like that?
My understanding is that he was a coach of Destination Imagination.
What's that?
What is that?
Destination Imagination, as you can envision in the title, it's a group of kids to get together and work creatively to problem solve questions that come to them, challenges that come to them that they're not expecting, and then they are judged by their creativity and problem-solving ability.
Is this an after-school program?
Yes.
Were there any complaints or any issues in the 7 years that he taught there that maybe were not criminal, but issues at the school?
None that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of.
Did he have any sort of history that led up to this?
The information that we have from previous employers would suggest that there were no concerns at the time of employment.
What should parents know now? What would you want parents to know now at this juncture?
Well, I want parents to know that we're working cooperatively with the police department. Chief Metz and I have had numerous conversations today, and as he said, this is a high priority for both the Aurora Police Department and the Cherry Creek School District. I'm as shocked as all of you are. None of us had any inklings of anything, and we're trying to be very responsive. Again, my comments, I'm more concerned about if there are any other victims out there, and I'm so appreciative of all of you being here in support of the effort to see if in fact there are others. And again, I commit the resources of the Cherry Creek School District to support our families and to support any of our students that may have been victimized in this situation.
What grades did he teach, and was that after-school program both high school and middle school?
The grades would be middle school, so in our configuration it's grades 6, 7, and 8, and the program would have been at the middle level.
So he may have taught all three, or he did?
You know what, I don't have that information. I'm not sure exactly what he taught other than social studies.
Chief, I know you said that you can't really speak a lot about this case, but as long as I've been here, we haven't had anything like this. You guys have made the point several times that you're trying to get this information out there. What leads you to believe that there are more victims?
Well, again, we mentioned earlier that he has previous employment with schools, so we want to make sure that if there are past victims out there, that they're getting the assistance they need. If there are people who have information regarding alleged abuse or of any kind, that we want to know about that. And again, it's mainly to also make sure that anybody who has potentially or allegedly been a past victim is getting the assistance.
Where was he arrested?
Sure. He was actually arrested at the school today at Prairie.
What time?
Early afternoon. I'm not sure the exact time, but it was early afternoon today.
You guys were still in class?
I'm not sure about that.
We're going to not take any more questions at this time. We hope to get some more information out to the public as it becomes available. Just please understand, as the chief and the lieutenant said, we're trying diligently to put this case together, and we really want to protect the information. So thank you all.
Could we get your first and last name?
Yep, I'm Bill, B-I-L-L, Hummel, H-U-M-M-E-L.
Is there an arrest affidavit or anything like that? Or is that going to be sealed?
Not at this point. That's something that we'll refer to the Arapahoe County District Attorney.
What's his age?
I believe 33.
Can you provide a DOB?
Yes. His date of birth is April 15th of 1983.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, so April 15th?
Yep, April 15th, 1983.
And when the person who walked in, when did that happen? Was it a month ago? Was it a couple months ago?
When it was initially reported,
Yeah.
it was just a couple days ago.
A couple days ago.
Yeah, evening of the 20th.
The evening of
The August 20th.
20th. Okay.
Yep. And we are going to have a press release out hopefully within the hour, so that will have details as to dates, times, correct spellings of names.
And when he was arrested, was there any incident, or did it go?
No.
There's no incident.
No. Okay.
Just,
no more.
Bill, just to check one thing, I believe this is what you said, he's married and has 2 children?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah, that's what I